Do you want to be more consistent? Are you always trying to chase consistency? And sometimes you can even get a hold of it and hold on to it for like a week or two, but inevitably it always escapes, and then you feel horrible about yourself until you get back on the consistency treadmill and keep running. That is because there is actually more than one kind of consistency, and normally only one kind of consistency is talked about. So today we're going to talk about a totally different kind of consistency, which is cyclical consistency. My name is Sean. I'm a mental health coach. I see 40 plus clients a week. I have a 98% satisfaction score from over 1,500 ratings. And every 3 months, I have my clients take a snapshot. It's sort of like a gym progress photo, but for your mental health. And I got permission recently from one of my clients to share some of the results that they had. So in the course of 3 months of coaching, this client saw a 30% increase in confidence, a 35% increase in empowerment, and a 25% increase in their sense of purpose. So let's dive into cyclical consistency. So many people that I work with, when they first come to me, they say something like, I want to learn to be more consistent. And most people think of consistency in only one way, which is, you get up at 8 in the morning, you go to the gym. Actually, it's not even 8 in the morning, it's like 5 in the morning. You get up at 5 in the morning, you go to the gym, you go to work, you grind all day, you come home, you eat perfectly, and then you go to bed and you do it all again. But that is only one kind of consistency. And the feminine actually provides us a beautiful window into a completely different kind of consistency. Every month, people who have periods go through a 4-part cycle. Part 1 is the menstrual phase, part 2 is the follicular phase, part 3 is the ovulatory phase, and part 4 is the luteal phase. And I'm going to break each of these phases down because I think that they actually provide a really beautiful structure for what this cyclical consistency can look like. So first, let's talk about the menstrual phase. This is what people commonly refer to as having their period. It is when you are shedding your uterine lining. And emotionally, it is when your emotions are magnified, which makes it an excellent time for reflection. Because even though that magnification of emotions can make it really intense and uncomfortable, it is also much easier to see those emotions and therefore ideal for reflection. It is, on the other hand, not ideal for taking big action or making big changes in your life. It is a time for rest. In fact, I believe that people who have periods should be able to rest during this period. They shouldn't have to work during this period. And there's already cultures that have established this sort of tradition. And what's really amazing is that from the intuition that is gleaned from people reflecting during this time, it benefits everyone in the society. There's actually a lot of really good precedent for it. Next is the follicular phase. During this phase, follicles start to develop on the ovaries, hence the name, and you start to feel more energy. And usually during this time, people feel more social, they feel more creative ideas are flowing. It is a time for new beginnings. It is a time to start new projects. The third phase is the ovulatory phase, which is where the egg is released and energy is at its highest. Some people refer to this as being in heat. And it is the perfect time to make big, bold decisions. During this time, people have a palpable magnetism to them. It is the perfect time for communication, for collaboration, and for taking big, bold steps forward. And finally, we have the luteal phase, which is when your body starts to prepare for either menstruation or pregnancy. It is a time for discernment where you are letting things go and identifying what no longer serves you, wrapping up big projects that you've been working on. And what's really cool about this is that this is reflected in all sorts of different ways in nature. So a couple of examples are the seasons and the phases of the moon. And they actually graft on perfectly to this 4-stage cycle. So we have menstrual, which is like inner winter and new moon. We have follicular, which is like inner spring and waxing moon. We have ovulatory, which is like inner summer and a full moon. And then finally, we have luteal, which is like inner autumn and waning moon. Whether we're talking about menstrual cycles or phases of the moon or seasons, they are all cycles because they consistently repeat. So it doesn't matter if you have a menstrual cycle or not. The important part is that there is more than one kind of consistency. And when you start to embrace your natural rhythms, your own personal kind of consistency, That is when consistency starts to come to you rather than you constantly having to try to chase it. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to be like, yeah, right. Good luck honoring my natural rhythms in a 9 to 5 capitalist society. And you're right. There are definitely elements of our society that make it really hard to honor our natural rhythms. And that's kind of the point. It takes a lot of intention to craft a life that is fulfilling for you. Because so many of us run our lives off of scripts. We go home and we do the holiday script. We go to work and we do the work script. And by starting to instead write your own scripts and identify scripts that are no longer serving you, that is where I see people really start to find fulfillment in their lives. And it is so easy to feel disempowered and hopeless in the world we live in, which is why a big part of the work that I do is about helping you to step into your power. And so if you would like help in this process of crafting a natural rhythm for you, honoring your natural rhythm, writing your own scripts, I'll leave a link down in the description where you can sign up for a free 50-minute session with me. And even if you don't want to have a session, that's totally okay. Let me just give you an example of what it looks like when I honor my own natural rhythms so that you can sort of get an idea of what it might look like. The first thing to keep in mind is that in order to do any of this, you have to be aware of your own internal state, because these cycles can repeat throughout the course of a day, a week, a month, a year. And so if you are not aware of what is going on internally for you, it's not possible to honor where you are in your cycle. So for instance, for me, I have structured my work in such a way that I am able to honor my natural rhythms. So during my inner spring, I work on my creative work, like making these videos, like writing, like brainstorming. And during my inner summer, I prioritize outreach, networking, and intentionally making new connections. During my inner autumn, I finish up projects that I've been working on. It's a great time. I always have, all of these little back burner projects that I haven't worked on for a while. Inner autumn is a fantastic time to go and just finish a couple of those up. And during my inner winter, I slow down, I practice things like yoga and embracing my own sensuality, which if you want to know more about what the heck that means, there's an article that I wrote about embracing our sensuality. I'll leave a link to it down in the description. And by doing this, not only does it feel amazing, it helps keep me sharp, energized, and at my best for the purpose that I am serving, which if you want to know what the heck that is, I'll leave a link down to a video where I talk all about my personal why, if you want to check that out. It'll also pop up here in the corner, depending on where you're watching this. So for instance, when I came up with the idea for this video, it was after work late one night, and I could have settled down and watched a TV show, but the idea for this article, because I originally wrote this as an article and then made it into a video, the idea for this article was calling me, and so I started working on it. And it's actually one of the longest articles that I've written. This video is actually only one portion of that article. If you want to check out that article, I'll leave a link down in the description to it. So if this really resonated with you and you want to try out building cyclical consistency in your life, but you want some help along the way, I'll leave a link down in the description to schedule a free 50-minute session with me where I'll offer any help that I can. And by the way that I discovered this different way of thinking, this different kind of consistency, was from working with a whole lot of people who are neurodivergent. I started to notice that there is actually a pretty consistent narrative that people who are neurodivergent tend to go through. So if you would like to better understand what that narrative is, because you identify as neurodivergent, this video that I'll either pop up here or down in the description, depending on where you're watching this, will go over what that narrative looks like and what you can do to feel better and embrace your neurodivergence. I hope that helps, and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Bye! No, let's try again. And it is, fuck. Okay. I shouldn't try to deviate.